Hello everyone, I'm Jim Longworth and welcome to another edition of Triad Today. Coming up later on, our infamous roundtable gets together. We'll see what kind of controversies they get into, but between now and then, some great guests and important information coming your way. For one thing, we're going to meet the new police chief of the city of Greensboro. And we'll also meet a lady who's involved in rescuing horses. Fascinating work that she's doing. We'll also have some news about some job training opportunities for you, all that and much more. But first, we turn our attention to public education, to scholarships and all sorts of great things, and two great people to tell us about them. On my immediate right, my good friend Wendy Poteet, President and CEO of something called Say Yes to Education Guilford. And she brought along a special guest who's been here with us many times before too, and we welcome him back. Walker Sanders, President of the Community Foundation of Greater Greensboro. Good to see both of you.
Thanks for having us, Jim.
Thank you, Jim.
I'm going to start with Wendy and just remind folks about the mission of Say Yes to Education and how many students you've helped thus far.
Okay, so mission of Say Yes Guilford is to make sure that we are providing support services and scholarships to Guilford County School students to make sure they are equipped and prepared for success in college, career, and life.
Now, what kind of impact has this had over the last 4 years?
So Say Yes Guilford came to Greensboro, Guilford County with a lot of pomp and circumstance, and there were a few missteps along the way, but we believe that we have moved forward from that. And over the course of the last 4 years, we've had a huge impact for Guilford County School students. So through our tuition awards, we give out to students that go to any 2 or 4 year public university or college in North Carolina. We also give out our opportunity grants to graduates that get a full Pell Grant. So that's money that we give out as well.
Yeah.
And also we give out money to families that make over $75,000 a year. If their student decides to go on to a private university, we give them up to $5,000 to help with that enormous tuition bill.
What a great program that is. Now
Can I add one more thing?
Go ahead. Yeah.
We also on our private compact, so students that make their families that make under $75,000 a year, through our partnership with our higher ed compact, those students are offered free tuition and select fees at these private schools that we are partnered with. So we've leveraged more than $20 million for over 1,100 students in Guilford County schools.
I just think that's amazing. And you also do things like tutoring and test prep, right?
Absolutely. So we have a partnership with GTCC, Greensboro College, and A&T, where we're a federal work study site. And those students from those higher ed institutions actually go into schools and after-school programs across the county to administer what we call the HELPS program. It's a literacy-based tutoring model, and we've gotten our mid-year numbers. 100% of those students in the program have shown growth, and over 60% of those students have exceeded their growth number.
It's unbelievable. Walker, how are all these scholarships and services funded, and how's the foundation involved?
Well, we were involved with the High Point Community Foundation to privately raise the money. That was the whole model of the Say Yes effort, to really leverage public dollars and use the private dollars to send families to their children to college. We raised quickly over $40 million to get this program launched. It was tremendous. And then under Wendy's leadership, we've been able to reset the program. It's now a local chapter. We've reset the scholarship program so it's more focused on families that need those resources. And it's rather than going after the major donors, is how we got it started. We're now launching a community-wide campaign in Greensboro and High Point and throughout Guilford County to allow families, if you want to just underwrite one school, allowing all those children to go on and get a post-secondary degree, you can do one school, or you can do the larger effort too. So you'll be hearing about that coming forward.
Well, yeah, and I want you all to keep us updated on that, but that's just one of the many reasons why the foundation is so great, because you can take this money that people are donating and put it to good use too. Very quickly, we're almost out of time. Wendy, can high school seniors register now?
High school seniors are able to register now at sayyesguilford.org.
Okay, I'm going to put that up on screen again, sayyesguilford.org, and for the radio listening audience, again, say yes, there's 2 Y's in there now, sayyesguilford.org. And a shout out to Walker's fine group, the Community Foundation of Greater Greensboro. That is up on screen as well, cfgg.org. Please invite you to check out both of these. This is a great thing for kids, for students, some who wouldn't be able to go to college. And I just applaud what you're doing, and thank you for so much, both of you, for what you're doing. I appreciate it.
Thank you for having us.
All right. We'll be right back after this. All right, today, always glad when the good folks from Goodwill can drop by and let me know what they're up to, and they are up to a lot, and that is helping a lot of people. We're going to tell you why. Next to me, my good friend Eddie Moser is here with us. She's skills training career coach for Goodwill Industries of Northwest North Carolina. And our buddy Andy Ward is back with us this time as Regional Director of Workforce Development in the Eastern District for Goodwill Industries of Northwest North Carolina. Welcome to both of you.
Thank you.
Just a note to our director, Lori we're going to go over to Andy for just a second. I want to start with Andy. Now, what is Career Connections and who can it help?
Career Connections is basically that open door portal to Goodwill. So anybody that's coming in, typically before they get into any of our programs, they can just walk in right off the street and get the services they need. And so it's anybody that might be unemployed, underemployed, somebody that's needing to get a resume together, may need help with a job application, things like that.
Yeah, because I mean, you come across folks that maybe have been in the workforce but been out for a while, maybe haven't had to do a resume and some of those things.
Correct. Yeah, if they've been out for a while and haven't had to do a resume, that can be really challenging.
Other than that, what other kind of challenges do people face when they're trying to get back into the workforce? What do you find?
Yeah, typically some of the barriers, it's kind of all over the board, and a lot of times it's multiple barriers. But things like transportation, job care, or child care, whether or not they have that resume and they're ready to go. Soft skills. How are they when it comes to having the right attitude, having the right mindset, having timeliness, things like that. So those are a lot of the barriers.
So you can even, I've often wondered about this. I mean, if somebody's kind of down on themselves or whatever, you can sort of say, hey, look, here's how you need to act during an interview. So you're going to help them with that kind of stuff too.
Yeah, so they're going to come in, they're going to get an initial jumpstart class is what they call it. It's going to kind of give them just an entry into that. Like I said, help them with resumes, applications, and then that's the portal basically to all our other services. So
now, normally we'll put up, and we will later on, we'll put up a website on screen where you can find out all about what's going on with Goodwill. But I want to turn to Eddie now because you have something that's even more convenient for people, not like me who I don't know anything about technology, but now you're using this new technology and texting and everything. You got something called Goodwill on the Go. What is that?
Goodwill on the Go is like an app, but it's actually a web-based system, but it's our way of engaging both our customers and the community at large. And they can find out information like upcoming job fairs and even some training tips.
Now, what's the benefit going to be to the whole community to have something like this, do you think?
Well, it makes the information more accessible because it's 24/7, available all the time. If somebody's working second shift and they get off at 12 midnight, and they're thinking, I want a different job. I wonder what job fairs are out there.
Well, that's the perfect time to call Andy.
Exactly.
We're going to give his home phone in a minute. People can call at 1 in the morning. Andy, no, because this is up there all the time.
Exactly.
And, now, is there a fee for being able to use this app?
None whatsoever. It is free.
So now, how would I get it?
You could text our.
Yeah, I think we have a logo or something.
I think you have that information up there.
As my wife will tell you, I don't text, but it's like text NWNC to 56512. That's up on a graphic that we're showing there, and you can go to buysell.co/JCAU.
That's the website.
And that's the website there. All that's up there. But that's how people register, and and it's very convenient. Do you think this is going to make a big difference? Are you able to tell? I mean, how long has it been up, or is it about to happen?
We started using it last year. Actually, we started in 2018, and I can tell you this year in 2020, we've had almost 300 people come to the site. Our two most popular pages are our hiring events page, where people can find out about our job fairs, and also our skills training class information, so people can find out about upcoming classes and get registration information.
Now, I promised I would put the general website up on screen, so I'm going to do that. Goodwill NWNC stands for Northwest North Carolina. They cover just a huge area. GoodwillNWNC.org, and as Eddie mentioned, you can see the graphic that we showed a minute ago, the text NWNC to 56512 and go to buysell.co/JCAU. It's just a fantastic service, and I also want to remind folks that what makes this all happen is folks at home, when you go and donate things to Goodwill, and those things that you donate end up in the retail stores, and the proceeds from those sales go to make these programs possible. So we want people to keep donating, and I really applaud what y'all are doing. Thanks for everything.
Thank you.
All right. We'll be right back after this. Back now on Triad Today. I'm excited about having this guest here. I wanted to get him here last month, but he was so busy, and now we've pulled him away. And right next to me is the Honorable Brian James, the new Chief of Police for the city of Greensboro. Welcome, and good to see you.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
And congratulations
Thank you.
in order. Now, you may be the new chief, but I want to focus on that word new for a second, because you're not new to the city, not new to the force. I mean, here you go to high school at Page High School, you go to A&T, you know the area, but you've been on the force for a long time. How many years were you on there, and At 20?
24 years.
Answer this for me. Who or what led you to a career in law enforcement? Was it a father, uncle, cousin, teacher, happenstance? What was it?
Well, you know, ironically, it was actually one of my neighbors married a person who was a police officer, and actually his name is Tony Pfeiffer.
Okay.
And he's a retired captain with the Greensboro Police Department, so he was the first police officer that I really knew and gave me an interest in law enforcement.
Okay. Now, how old were you when you became aware of that?
Oh man, probably in high school, maybe around 16, 17 years old, something like that. And he had just gotten on the police force back then.
That's great. Now, I've been reading about these community meetings that you held. And no offense, but you know, a lot of times people come, especially if they come from out of the area, and I'm glad you were hired from within, but let's say somebody comes from out of the area, the first thing you do is, I'm going to have meetings. And you always wonder, well, now, what are you really going to learn from this kind of thing? But you have really been serious about this thing with these community meetings. What have you taken away from them?
Well, you know, I tell people we look at stats all the time. We look at crime numbers to figure out where our people should be and where we should be trying to improve our services. But you really can't substitute talking to people.
Absolutely.
And what I've learned is that there are a lot of problems that don't necessarily show up in crime numbers, and there are things that we should be concerned about and that we should address. So a lot of things, you know, some areas of town where, you know, it may not pop up as a crime stat, but it is an issue that law enforcement should address.
You got to address it. And let me go to this then. A lot of people of color that I talk with have either a distrust of or a disdain for police. What are you going to do to try to change that dynamic?
Well, part of the strategy really is getting out in front of people. So I've got to be that face, first of all, and I want all my people to follow that lead. I want us to be able to get out in front of people, talk about issues, whether they're good or bad, and just, you know, if we've made a mistake, we want to admit to it and we want to fix it as quick as possible, but really to find out on the front end, what are people seeing that they don't like, and maybe there's some things that we can correct before they happen. So I think to build that trust, they have to get to know me as a person. And I think that once they get to know me, hopefully they'll get to trust me.
Get to know you as a person and not as a uniform.
Correct, exactly.
What about gun violence? It's not just Greensboro, it's Winston. It's all over the state, all over the nation, gun violence. Now, are you in favor of tighter restrictions on guns? And if so, where does that put you with the folks who think you're trying to take their guns away?
Well, I'll say this, I am for responsible gun ownership. And when I say that, you know, people that can legally possess guns, I certainly support that, but at the same time, if you're a gun owner, you have to be responsible in how you care for that firearm. So I'll give you an example. You know, we have a number of guns that are stolen out of vehicles,
right. And
then those guns end up in the hands of criminals, and they do harm with those guns. So we have to think about that aspect of it.
Yeah, and finally, I wanted I was just wondering that what it means to you. We've talked about your years on the force, that you grew up around here. What does that mean to you personally, that you're now the chief of police of your city?
I mean, it's incredible because I think about it. I was primarily raised by my mom, single mom, and went to school right here in Greensboro, went to Page High School, went to A&T, and quite frankly, I just wanted to be a police officer. I wasn't thinking about being the police chief, and I had some great opportunities, and it put me in a position where I could legitimately compete for it, and fortunately, I got the job.
Well, we're glad you did, too.
Thank you.
We were all rooting for you. And up on screen is a general website for the city, and you can eventually work your way through to the police department there, greensboro-nc.gov. To Brian James, the new chief of police. I won't be able to call you the new chief of police much longer. But
Not much longer.
That's right. Yeah. Thanks for coming by.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
All right, don't be a stranger.
I won't. Thank you.
We'll be right back after this. Triad Today. I'm excited about having this lovely lady with us because we both love horses. And she takes that love and does something really special for the horses. We're going to find out what that is. Next to me, Kelly Emerson is a board member of something called Hero, H-E-R-O, Hero, and she is my hero. But welcome to the program.
Thank you.
I'm going to first ask you, because people are going to wonder, what H-E-R-O stand for?
It stands for Horse Education and Rescue Organization.
Now, when was the group founded, and what is the mission, the overall mission?
It was founded in June of 2007 originally, and the overall mission is to rescue and rehab neglected, abused, unwanted horses or equines.
And abandoned. People will, I mean, there's all sorts of reasons why these horses come to you, I imagine. And you said equine in general, because that, what would that extend to?
Mules, donkeys,
Okay.
zebras.
Yeah. Now, why did you become interested in the organization?
I have a passion for animals to begin with and have been in horses, working with them for the majority of my adult life.
Yeah.
Was a retired paramedic, so I just kind of put my skills to work.
Caring for people and now caring for the four-legged friends.
Correct.
Kelly, I'm wondering, since education is part of the mission, part of the name, what is it you try to educate people on?
Well, education, it remains the greatest means of abuse prevention. If we can prevent the abuse, we won't have it to begin with, or the neglect. Many times it's not intentional that the abuse or neglect goes on. So with education, we can take the private horse owner or the 4-H kid or the pony clubber and try to educate them on what they should do.
Better care for the horse, so that that horse doesn't end up with you and you don't have to rehabilitate him. So the prevention end is important, I know. How many horses are you trying to rehabilitate right now?
We have 5 in the program right now that are under active rehab.
Now, let me ask, how is this group funded?
The public funds us. We actively seek donations, sponsorships for the horses.
And you have fundraising events too. I was going to put up on screen at some point, there's one coming up called the Spring Fling and Open Show on Saturday, April 25th. And there's, I think for information, it's up on screen. You can call 403-7297. But is this an example of a way that you can raise money and have fun? And
It is. We have the horse show there at TTC, and they are big fans of ours. We are of them. We sell concessions. We have silent auction baskets that we sell.
right?
And when you pay to go for a class there to show in, so the kids show, part of that comes to us.
Now I'm going to put your website up on screen in just a second, but before I do that, because once people see that, they can not only get information, but also maybe make cash donations. But beyond cash, do you need supplies? And if so, what?
Oh yeah, we have some horses that they can't eat regular hay, so we would love a donation of chaff hay, chopped hay. If you have any halters, lead ropes, tack, brushes, anything that we can use to care for the animals, we'll take.
All right. And what about volunteers? Do you ever, maybe there's some people who can't afford to make a cash donation, but they'd like to volunteer. Do you need them?
Absolutely.
But what would they do?
Well, they will learn how to care for the horses themselves. We have a program where we can put them in, teach them all about caring for horses, how to lead them, how to feed them. So we'll take them.
All right,
all the
that's
volunteers.
good. All right, so as promised, let's put this up on screen. HeroEquineRescue.org. I'll say it again for the radio listening audience, HeroEquineRescue.org. Please go to that website, and if you can, please make a cash donation or get through to them and say, I want to volunteer, and give supplies, donate supplies, as Kelly was mentioning. Kelly, I really appreciate what you're doing, and keep up the good work.
Thank you. Thank you for your time.
All right. We'll be right back after this. I tried today, just about time for the round table. Let me hold up Yes Weekly. Hope you will get it. I have a column in there, but that's not why you should get it. And it's great. You'll learn a lot in here. Yes Weekly. It's free. It's everywhere. Speaking of free and everywhere, 3 great folks with me right now on the round table. On my right, but always political left, Ogie Overman, the great broadcaster and journalist. Next to him, the lovely, talented, sometimes harsh, the face of Carol Andrews, author, public speaker, face of ABC 45, My 48, and the guy I call Mr. Theater, Dave Briggs, director of the High Point Theater. And I will tell you folks that I had nothing to do with this birthday thing. My wife Pam came in and put birthday greetings on the set without me knowing, and brought cupcakes for everybody. So my thanks to my wife Pam. And I'm older,
Can I say
but
something about the 6?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right, 6 is part of the number. You guys get the rest of the rest.
No. All right, guys. Hey, all right, first topic. Let's be serious about this.
Yes.
Now, the coronavirus, because of that, Chinese officials have indicated that buyers from their country will not travel to High Point for the upcoming furniture market. Here's my question, and I know it'll be of particular interest to Dave. Would you like to see market officials limit attendance to the furniture market to domestic travelers only? Would you like them to move the furniture market until later in the year? I know all these sound like radical things, but It's a weird time. Ogie, any thoughts?
I don't think any of that's feasible, Jim. I mean, it's the internet. If you limit it, if you take out the international, you've taken out what 80% of your market. It doesn't make any sense.
Carol.
Well, and I also think it's going to regulate itself. I think people who are afraid to travel will not travel. And I don't know that it would do any good for all the vendors, all the people that are involved in market to just say no.
Dave.
Well, there are already a number of countries who are banning travel. Italy, which is a huge portion of the market, and of course China. We're seeing registration is already lower, but the vendors are actually up. The vendor numbers are up. The money's already been spent. You may as well have the event and get it over with. If you wash your hands, if you don't shake hands, if you don't sneeze on people, chances are you're not going to spread this. Unlike N1H2, whatever, the flu virus that we had a few years ago, which was more dangerous, this is just far more communicative. So,
All right,
yeah,
so-
we'll do it. I've had to cancel events, postpone events, and so on.
But we
living
should
in the
have the
public-
market. Have the market.
That's right.
All right, changing topics and also a serious one. The National Boy Scouts of America organization has declared bankruptcy due to the growing number of sexual abuse lawsuits and the money they might have to pay out to victims. Now, some of the abuse occurred years ago here in the Triad. I'm saying years ago here in the Triad. There were no current people in the Boy Scouts involved in it. But because of that, should Boy Scout activities in our state be temporarily suspended and the assets frozen until all claims have been settled? Now, this is just in fairness to victims. Ogie, any thoughts?
I don't think so, Jim. I had a thought. If you're going to do that, what does the Catholic Church do? Should they freeze their assets?
Not
and
have any church,
suspend
have no
operations?
church services or something, yeah.
It's the same thing.
Or any
Yeah.
church
Or
or
any-
any organization that
Yeah.
deals with children,
What do you think,
because
Carol?
they're all involved. I would hate to see the Boy Scouts go away. And honestly, in this day of litigation, insurance is going to be paying these bills anyway, so why let the kids suffer?
Dave?
I agree 100% with both of them. The Boy Scouts do way too much good as opposed to the bad that they had. And I'm a father of an Eagle Scout.
Yes.
Yeah, I know you're proud of that too,
indeed.
and great boys in that. I didn't mean to disparage the boys
No,
or any
no.
current leadership. It's just, the question. All right, now last month, a tractor trailer full of cows, as you know, overturned in Winston-Salem, killing most of the animals. The animal rights group PETA wanted to buy a local billboard ad that urges the public to go vegan. That was the slogan. But the billboard company, Lamar Outdoor, refused to display the ad. Now here's my question, because it continues on as a controversy now. Should a public media outlet, whether it's billboards, a TV station like ours or whatever, should those outlets be allowed to refuse an ad just because it may disagree with the content? Ogie?
Well, actually, they do have that right. I mean, billboards, in a way, are media, and I don't agree with them. I wouldn't do it. I would let PETA have the billboard, but they have the right to do it.
Carol?
Yeah, I tend to agree. They have the right, whether you agree with them or not, whether you agree with the folks from PETA or not, they'll find a way.
Dave?
Well, they certainly have the inventory. They do have the right to choose who advertises on their boards, but they could have taken it and stuck it somewhere that nobody would ever see it.
Right. I think they were going to tell the company to stick it somewhere. But
Indeed.
anyway, all right. The one quick political thing, because we're in the political season. The new poll says Democrat Cal Cunningham would defeat Tom Tillis in the Senate race, 46 to 41% if the election were held today. Quickly, guys, do you think these poll numbers will hold until November? Ogie?
No, I don't. I think Cal will win by double digits.
Really?
I
Carol?
think they will increase.
I think that when we trust polls, we see things like, Bernie Sanders is supposed to be ahead now, and he's not. So,
Right. Dave?
I think that Cunningham has
You
football captain looks, but I think when we get to November, Tillis is going to win this one.
All right. In an effort to promote education, the owner of a New York City convenience store is giving away free merchandise to any young person who can solve a math equation that he gives us. Pretty novel thing. Would you like to see more stores follow that lead, Ogie?
Actually, I think that's a pretty good idea.
Pretty good, isn't
Yeah,
it?
I like it. I
Carol?
like it.
Yeah, and I think a lot of businesses are coming up with unique ideas to help in reading and literacy.
Dave?
I think it's an interesting idea. Maybe they could ask him about the Constitution.
Yeah, well now, ask adults about the
Yeah, ask
Constitution.
adults
about
There'll
the
be no
Constitution.
food given out there. All right, finally, guys and gals, a French perfume company is selling replica fragrances for $130 a bottle that will let you smell like anything you want to smell like leather. You can smell like old library books, tobacco, that kind of thing. Guys and gals, would you pay $130 to smell like old library books? Ogie?
I can't think of anything I would like to smell like for $130 a pop. I just
Just
I
go
don't know
smellless.
anything.
You go smellless. Carol.
And if I want, because I do love the smell of old books, but I wouldn't want my clothes to smell like that.
Yeah.
So otherwise, I'd just go
Yeah,
leave them in the store.
I don't think your husband Benny would be hugging on you if
No,
you
he
smell
wouldn't
like
love the old
Dave.
Or old shoes or anything. No, thank you.
You don't want any of it.
None of it.
All right, well, that's all. I'm glad. And the three of you smell great. I just want to tell people, even though you can't smell them from there. Well, that's all the time we have, except for this. The Republican Party and Melania Trump are going to host a fundraiser later this month in Hollywood, in which big donors have to pay a lot of money for time alone with the First Lady. I know what that's like, said the president. I'm not sure. What does that mean, Ogie?
Well,
sure.
that prenup.
All right,
kicked
so
in,
anyway, no,
I
there's no
guess.
pre. All right, for all of us here on Triad Today, and we smell like old library books. I'm
No,
Jim
we
Lorimer.
smell like
We'll see you.
birthday cake.
It's a birthday cake. Thank you. Yeah, all right, we'll be back.